In the first moments, there is this wonderful silence, like a kind of a creative primal soup, and then this needs to be transformed somehow into music, and that sometimes can be a very long way to go. I have to completely rely on my two closest friends. One is emotion, and the other is intuition. This time on the new album, I have focused on the wonderful and rich sound body of the symphony orchestra with all its acoustic sound colors. They offer such a rich palette, it really is like nirvana for my acoustic paintings. I'm using classical elements, such as the symphonic orchestra, of course, but that does not, of course, mean that the music is classical, because to me, classical music has the tendency of being a little bit stiff. I've tried to blend and link archaic musical power with the so-called sophisticated of the symphony by inviting many guest musicians from all around the world, especially from the ethnic music world, but also from many other cultural landscapes, because I wanted to show that there are many aspects which these music styles or music worlds have in common. And one is, of course, the expression, the intensity of the expression. In all the years of searching for my personal instrument, I became somehow unintentionally a multi-instrumentalist until I finally fell in love with the harp. Playing this instrument has widened my perception in every sense, and I must really say it is carrying me to other places. But it seems that the multi-instrumentalist is still a very strong force that is driving me. Kryptos is a Greek word, and the meaning is the encoded, the hidden. The mosaic shows a cryptograph, that's an encoded symbol, and in this case it is the house of the heart. I believe that the purpose of my work with music is to create and to offer an atmospheric environment that invites or inspires and encourages the listener to dive deep down into his own or her own world of thoughts, to where we can find the seeds of our dreams and our hopes and visions, but of course also the seeds of our pain and our fears. That naturally is part of it, of course. But I think in these days there's so much information attacking us every day. There's so much input that we somehow have to understand or try to understand and digest, that it becomes more important than ever for us to get in very close touch with this silent reality in the depth of ourselves. Well, Kryptos is definitely the most complex of all my musical productions, and it will require certainly a lot of effort to play this music live. But we are working on larger and smaller scale versions of the project. I think there is room for us to just experiment, and anything that is essential needs to, of course, be represented on stage. I must admit that I'm still overwhelmed by the world around me, and I have traveled far, but I have not seen enough and experienced enough and lived enough to be satisfied with all the answers to my many questions. I hope the journey never ends, and so the music is maybe something like a journal of the continuing travels of a restless seeker.